if you have it open.
Yeah, theoretically. Are we now live on the internet?
I
We do
don't.
appear to be live on the internet.
We do appear to be live on the internet, do we? Oh, that's lovely.
Give me a second. Let me see if the sound's coming through.
Mhm.
Yep, we are now live on the internet, and the sound
Excellent.
is indeed coming through.
Cool.
Hello, everybody. There's
Hello.
literally no one here yet.
Well, obviously not. No, that would be. Maybe put a little post on the Discord saying we are now live, or.
I'm doing it.
Nice. Thanks, buddy.
There'll be some people here eventually.
There usually are. I mean, you know. Or else we're just talking it in the void.
You sound like we don't normally talk into the void.
Yeah, but like normally we're recording it to be watched later, where you know.
This is true.
Yeah.
Okay, we now have a bunch of people here. Hello, everybody.
Huzzah! Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second stream of the day. New record, 2 streams in one day.
We really are kicking it into the big time now.
Yeah, now once again you have original recipe Screech for Bomb, which is myself, David, Baron von Fabulous, Lark, and my delightful co-commentator,
Callum, the good Dr. Young.
Don't tell us who we're commentating today.
Yeah, so today we have GJ999 from the Manchester Mavericks versus Kionerst from Italian Resurgence.
Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting one for table ramifications as well, I do believe. Bit of a top of the table clash, I think.
Let me double check, as that's normally my job.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, George is looking pretty good on 3 out of 4. Kionerst is also on 3 out of 4. So with their 5th match tonight, could pretty much lock down at least a playoff spot for the one who wins.
Indeed it could. So let's look at the decks that will be fighting it out for that potential playoff spot. I think we're looking at George's decks first with Tenebris of Bob-Omb Prison.
Yep, so let's start off with Tenebris. So Tenebris is a very specific type of game plan where you're basically trying to play Edai as much as possible and basically cram the vast majority of your deck into the archives and just never get it out again. And at that point, you get your deck down to the point where it's so thin that you can just play an Edai and wood it with a hologramophone literally every turn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen, we've kind of commentated on this a couple of times now, and both games we've commentated it's managed to do this to great effect. Generally, you're looking at Entropic Swirls, Tau Vapors, and Edais being the only things left in the deck.
Yeah, just looping the full 6, and it just becomes impossible for your opponent to win because their keys cost 30 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You have good archiving in the other houses with the Library of the Damned and the Information Officer Grey. And also you can just win by getting a pretty decent Star Alliance board going because you've got stuff like the Medic Ingram, the Kirker, Frane's Blaster, and 2 Walls. So you can win that way. But generally speaking, the Edais and the Taus and the Entropic Swirls are the plan. And it's a pretty good one.
It definitely
has
is.
not lost yet. 3-0 in the game.
No, it's quite archetypal. It's kind of like almost like a UK style has become like whether it's self-purge or kind of heavy archiving. It's become like a deck thrilling strategy. It's become quite popular across our meta.
I don't know what it is about the UK players, but they just hate playing cards. They like to just get rid of all of them and only play like sub 10 numbers of cards.
Indeed.
I do not understand it unless I was cast out of the country.
You were indeed, yeah. That's why you're in exile in the Netherlands.
It's true. In The Hague for crimes against Keyforge. All right, the next deck we have going on is Razormare, the Plunderer of Emptiness. And the basic plan for this deck is it's going to do quite annoying things whilst also generating crazy amount of Ember. It's a sort of classic Kota where it has 18 pips, it has 30 expected Ember. Lots of the things have an Ember pip on when it really feels like they shouldn't. Stuff like Ghostly Hand, stuff like Relentless Whispers, stuff like Control the Weak. And there are doubles all over this deck as well, right? It's like 9 sets of doubles, I think it was. So
yeah.
it will do what it does very consistently.
Yeah, I think the 18 pips is definitely something to focus on. But I think also just like the disruption of this deck is just impressive as well. Like you look at firstly Dis is the obvious usual disruption house, and the double control the weaks, the Restringantuses, the Snudges, the Toxins, all great ones to just kind of mess with your opponent and screw up their game plan. But also you look at Sanctum. And Code of Sanctum isn't something you see as much in the KFPL, generally because it's not the best
Sucks.
house. It pains me as much to say it. It's not the best house, I'll say it, and you've heard it from me now. But with a Blinding Light and two Lady Maxinas as well, being able to stun your opponent's board, especially if they're playing stuff with the really powerful fight, reap effects, can be an incredibly effective strategy in just kind of prolonging the
Yeah.
game a bit and allowing you to get those really powerful Ember Pip
And then
cards you've got.
you can just put up a big chunky board and reap out, right? With the double Lady Maxina, that's like a 5/2. Jehu the Bureaucrat actually rewards you for picking Sanctum a bunch.
Exactly, yeah. And Sigil of Brotherhood too means that you can use that quite handily. If you've got that Sanctum board down, you've got a bit of a hand, you can still use those Sanctum creatures to reap or fight as you wish.
Yeah, all pretty good. And then Shadows will just steal a huge amount of Ember from you.
Yeah, it
Not
definitely
really,
will.
not really huge amount you can do about that.
Not
It's
at
just
all,
gonna
no.
happen.
Okay, and last but by no means least, Charlatan Feodora Turbo Smack.
So Turbo Smack, as we are generally going to call it, it's a great name to
It
say.
is a great name.
It does a couple of things. It does big amounts of Mutant Rush with the Dav, with the double Vault Blessing, 10 mutants. It can generate a lot of Ember very quickly. And also steal a whole bunch of Ember because you have rad pennies, you've got some bows, and there's an interesting combination where you have a Dark Ember Vault, 5 Shadows mutants that are thieves, and then a Heist Knight. So you get these sort of big, like 5 power mutant cut purse that people never get around to get rid of, and then you just later hit the Heist Knight that has a capture on it as well.
Yeah, I think the other thing with the Heist Knight is you've also got cards like a Bone-Nithing, a Rad Penny, and to an extent a Sottolotto, which people almost don't want to kill or take off the board because you don't want, firstly, the Rad Penny to go back in your deck, but you don't want the Bone-Nithing and Sottolottos to be drawn back round. So sometimes, especially later in the game, it's a really hard decision being like, do I want to put that Bone-Nithing back in the deck, or do I want to take it off the board for the risk of a Heist Knight?
Yeah, and then has a pretty, we didn't talk about the Saurians, but it is quite good. A lot of sort of stalling and capturing and moving Ember around like you see in Mass Mutations. So you've got the Faust, Spoils of Battle, 2 Axioms for some pretty decent removal, and then an Ancient Power to ward all your stuff.
Yep, also got the Ludo as well, so if you've got a bit of Ember built up, you do have a bit of a kind of release valve to get that Ember off too.
Final big flash is the Word of Returning in the Untamed. Real big now these days.
Yep, I think we did see, was it last game that we saw a really big Word of Returning pulled off?
Yeah, it got like 15 Ember back from a Saurian deck.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. That was a
and then followed up with an
thing to
Axiom,
see.
having got rid of all the Ember.
Oh yeah, that was it, wasn't it? Oh,
worth checking out if you want to catch up on some of our own videos.
very much so indeed, very much so. But we'll now look at Kionerst decks and see whether they've got the moxie to take down the 3 we just looked at for George.
Brief note in the chat from Jay Philippeg, who is a narrow second to George in this group, who wishes they can both lose. He may be disappointed with that hope. So we have, first of all, Varog Boom, Scholar of Veneforte.
Yeah, a name that has some real gravitas. I was saying before. I was looking for the word for it. Gravitas is.
Just like saying Varog Boom.
I love saying Varog Boom. How do you not love saying Varog Boom?
I like it. I just am more measured in my enthusiasm.
It just sounds like a Star Trek villain or something like that. Varog Boom.
Right. So all of these 3 houses, I think, have a very specific purpose, so that it does very well. So starting with the Logos, you have huge amounts of draw and card filtering. So you've got 3 Tata Vapors, 2 Igors, an Edai, a Mimic Shell to mimic one of the other creatures that lets you draw or look at cards. So you're going to go through your deck at a hell of a speed, and then potentially a massive Knowledge's Power hit.
Yeah, I mean, you've got what I think that's 3 of the Tata Vapors, 1 with the Edai, and a theoretical 5th with the Mimic Gel, which are play archive a card. Wormhole Technician as well can also do that.
Especially if you sort of don't pick up your archives at any point, you can come back and try and do that a lot and thin out the deck in the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Saurian, much more wider part with a much more of an Ember control kind of house, although only the CSI and the Tribute for the Ember control here, so not the most Ember control. You got Theros Centurion, which can also do a bit. But the thing with this is that it's the risky Saurian whereby you have the Ludo as the only way of removing that Ember. You don't have anything like any Scutums. You don't have anything like a Killer Pigeon Ideal or a Brackus to spend it. And Ludo can sometimes be a bit precarious as a way of doing that, because if you kill the Ludo first, then that suddenly all goes away. With no taunt in this deck, that might be easier done than said.
Yeah, you've got 2 Imperiums to make things stick and 3 Phalanx Strikes to potentially just take stuff off the board with Ember on it. I think the other half of the Saurians.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Starlights, which is not quite the sort of hyper-efficient Starlights you might expect, but will make your board very, very sticky.
Yes.
Because in an annoying way, I imagine.
And is there any other kind of sticky board than an annoying one?
Well, I think some of these things would annoy me more than other things, right? So Encounter Suit is always like very irritating.
Very true, yeah.
And a lot of potentially high value targets for it. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, you have a Cloaking Dongle, Light of the Archons, Medic Ingram, Melina. So it could just core just a very difficult to remove board, but either Saurian or Logos or the Starlights itself.
Yeah, and also stealth mode, just to be like, no actions for you, which...
Oh, you wanted to play a board wipe? I'm afraid not.
I mean, against a deck, though, like Tenebris, a stealth mode could actually be really troublesome. If you get that stealth mode off on, like, a turn where, and just interrupt that big kind of cycle of archiving, could be really problematic there, if you're not careful.
Potentially so. But I think not quite as problematic as the Coda deck.
Gaya Song, Soldato di Cubanitido, and also Gaya Song. Not as good as Varrock Boom, but still pretty good as the name goes.
So we have some classic Coda. We have Shadows, Logos, Dis, the most popular house combination both in Coda and this tournament as a whole. And all of the houses pretty much do the thing you think they will. So the Dis clears boards and creates disruptions. You've got the double gateway to Dis, double life ward.
Yep, you've also got colorless subordination as well. So if there's anything that you just kind of want to take from your opponent, you can do.
Like also, a Fandangle or an Edai.
Yeah, this is also worth noting that this is a 10 creature Coda deck. So I think it was one of the OG Coda decks that hadn't quite got the algorithm dialed in yet. So you see houses like both Dis and Shadows, only 2 creatures, something that was kind of later rectified.
I think it was reasonably good for the game when they fixed that.
Definitely so, yeah.
The Logos, you have potential for a real big library access turn with the Time Traveler, a Wild Wormhole, and a Phase Shift. And then a very spicy Maverick Soft Landing.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Much better. Rather soft landing than a Squawker. Squawker would have been problematic, but soft landing, very nice with the Time Traveler. Shuffle it straight back in. Time Traveler's got
the main target, but nothing with like Kehoe, Doc Bookton, also pretty good. But the Time Traveler's the big trick.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be hoping like the ideal would be offer library access, Time Traveler, soft landing to put the Time Traveler back in the deck, try and draw into the Time Traveler, if not, helping future self to bring it out.
Yeah, it could be really big. And then you have the Shadows, which is just all steals and pips. There's 2 creatures. And then we have 2 Ghostly Hands, 3 Nerve Blasts, Relentless Whispers, Customs Office, which is always handy.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just real gross. It's very clear what it's going to do, and it's going to do it very well.
And finally, we have Red Specialista Allegra.
Ironically named the Cheerful Specialist, despite being, I mean, this might just be me and my distaste for this sort of thing, but perhaps one of the most miserable decks to play against that I've yet seen in the KFPL.
I don't know. I'm fine with it. I think you're overstating it, but yeah.
Okay, let me run the case. There's a Quixel Stone, which obviously
I do dislike the Quixel Stone. That is,
both of us do have harbor a disfavor towards.
The one thing we agree on is that we both don't like Quixel
Stone. Can be very tricky to play against. Then we have a triple Infernus with a Grim Reminder to bring all of those back.
Yeah, but no Hysteria, so it could be worse.
No, they very sensibly kept Hysteria out of Mass Mutation, thank God. And yeah, then you have double Borrow in case you fancied artifacts.
Yeah.
And then 18 in the creature control as well. So it was Suno, Quintrino Flux, Red Alert, just lots of clear.
Yeah, I think I've said it before with this deck, and this deck is very much of a deck that's like, it's a nice thing you have there. Be a shame if it turned to poison. You got the nice creature you have there. I'm going to Mark of Dis it. Nice artifact you there. I'm going to borrow it. Nice Ember you have there. I'm just going to steal it with a whole bunch of stuff or remove it with a whole bunch of stuff.
Punishes you for trying to do things.
But I think
Uh,
I think that's the thing with this deck though, with it being so reactive and it with being only 4.7 speed, is that you do have to just kind of like wait a lot to kind of like play the right turns, and it just kind of playing out cards as and when they come can be difficult in that situation.
yeah,
So I think
it will
while it's
be
a very good deck and a very hard deck to play against, I think you can definitely see how this deck would have some rough games where it wouldn't quite get to do its game plan.
it will be a slow, grindy game because the Ember generation is the same as the Ember control and the creature control.
Yeah, exactly.
So, ban chat. What do we
Indeed,
think?
indeed. Okay, I'm just. I'll let you say what your thoughts are first. I'm just.
I'm pretty sure George bans red. I think for this isn't just my own view because obviously if you think about it, right, both Turbo Smack and Tenebris really want to be playing creatures,
Yeah.
getting those big boards for the Vault's Blessings or dropping those E-Dice, so the Quixelstone can become a big problem.
Yeah, it's
The
also
Infernus,
borrowing a Dav is always problematic too.
always very bad.
Only 5 mutants in this deck, so not going to take as much advantage of it, but just going to really would slow down George's Dav deck there and be
Yeah,
really
and
troublesome.
Razormere is a lot of pips, so the triple Infernus is obviously going to hurt real hard.
Indeed, yeah, I think
Like
I'd
both
agree
of those
with that.
mutants.
I think I'd have a bit of fear for Gaia's Song as well, just because it's kind of one that's just like you just have the kind of draws where you used to lose to it, but red, especially Sturt, just kind of seems more directly.
Yeah, it's just going to shut you down.
Yeah. So, as for George's decks, what is the ban here?
I'm much less sure on this one. I think it's probably Razormare because it's very fast. It has a lot of pips. There's a chance you just get outpaced in terms of it outruns Varrock Boom by generating Ember quicker than you can stuff in your archives.
Yeah.
The creature control is really big, which I think could give you a lot of problems. And I think because it has so many pips, it would be much less worried about the Kixelstone. Well, I think the other way around for red. So I'm not as sure on this, but I think probably Razormare just for like the sheer speed and the disruption.
Yeah, I mean, I think having watched us before, I'd be very scared of a deck like Tenebris. Like, this is just a deck that I just don't like. You can get in a situation of against Tenebris that I just don't know how to play. It depends if Kionerst has been watching and knows how degenerate Tenebris can be.
I mean, we say this every time, and no one has yet banned Tenebris, despite us saying every time. It's like, well, they
Yeah,
could maybe ban it.
in that case, I think that Razor I'd agree with you. Just that level of disruption could just knock me
Yeah.
off a game plan so well. But we,
Especially if you think about like playing red, where you have very specific answers to things,
yeah,
stuff like the double control the weak can really mess that up.
definitely can. Okay, I think the game is all set up, so we're gonna join them now, and let me just
Is it?
find it. Yes, it is. So I'm gonna jump into that game, and I'll just message you the password too. So I've realised that you are not in the chat for this.
But I've already worked it out.
Ah, you clever bean, you.
I believe the word you're looking for is mad hacker skills.
Yes, indeed.
You see, the password was swordfish.
Ah, right. So we do
Soul
have
swordfish.
Varrock Boom, Eredito di Veneforte on the top of the screen being played by Kionerst. And on the bottom of the screen, we have Charlatan Feodora Turbo Smack being played by GJ999.
So, can Turbo Smack outrun essentially the archiving nonsense that Fiat Songs are trying to do?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for George being on the other side of the archiving nonsense in this matchup.
Yeah. I mean, George is obviously a friend, but there may be a little bit of a karmic retribution here for him.
Schadenfreude, I think is the term you're looking for.
I mean, I might just be saying that because I have now been helping George practice and test decks and everything for this. So obviously, I've been on the receiving end of Tenebris a lot.
Indeed.
Just let them know we're good to go.
Oh, yep, you can do that. That'd be lovely. Thank you. But we are seeing Kionerst here as mulligan out to 5, but George happy sticking at 7. And with the Dark Ember Vault, you can certainly see why.
That's what I've been looking for opening turn.
Yep, and do we have any artifact control from Kionerst? I don't believe we do, as far as I noticed.
And we're looking for Varrock Boom. No, nothing.
Nothing. So
that dab will be sticking where it is.
Yep, and George's going to be very happy with that. And oof, City State interest off the bat too. That is a big part of the Ember control in Kionerst's deck gone early on.
Could be very happy to see that go away.
Faust the Great could knock off that ward, just knock off the armor too, and then ward himself with an ancient power.
Very handy.
Kionerst
Gotta
hit.
think that Ludo is probably not long for this world.
Possibly not, no, but Star Alliance not got the best ways of killing it in that house. Might be sticking around for at least a turn. And then Medic Ingram gonna probably ward that Tabor, I think. Maybe the Thero just for better fights, but no, wards itself there.
Explorer goes for a creature. Interesting.
Put your own mask on before helping anyone else with their mask.
Well,
Is
this is
Medic
the
Ingram's
thing.
thinking there, clearly?
I've seen different approaches in Medic Kingdom. Some people are like, you always ward it first. I'm like, well, if there's a higher value target that I want to keep alive, like say Tabor, which
Yeah.
has now just died, then perhaps
It's a tough
you
one.
ward something
It's a
else.
tough one, definitely. Kionerst decided to keep the Ingram alive, and we are going to see Saurian now. I think this Thero Centurion probably going to fight into this Ludo, and I'd be very surprised not to see that.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice not to put.
No,
the
goes for the
Explorer-
Faust though.
Interesting choice not to put the Explorer on the Thero.
Yeah, I would have considered that definitely. I think Explorova not the best creature to put down, but maybe kind of valuing the flexibility of also being able to reap with it.
Also, to be fair, with the triple phalanx strike,
And Axie McGrisk, that might explain it too.
yeah. So just that's why he took out the Faust, wipes the board, and here comes Ludo.
And presumably why he fought with the Thero first to get that Ember on it and have it not die by the Axie either. And then,
Does lose a phalanx strike.
Yeah.
Tempting offer. What on?
I would think the Thero Centurion would be maybe want to go for. No, goes for the Ludo. Rad Penny to steal. Dark and Vault going to draw another card.
Steal and draw.
That is all she wrote. Not a bad turn.
Just a bit of back and forth so far. Nothing
no
too
big blowouts
dramatic
at all. And Igor going to look at the top three. Going to keep an eye out for what is being discarded here. Let's see. Kionerst, I think. Oof. Sensitive Posse and a Cloaking Dongles. You've got to think that must have something pretty good being taken in there. Because those are some useful cards. You do
possibly Igor number 2. I have many double Igor decks, and I'm often
then a Bibliophile and the Giata next to go. I think less.
Mimic Gel and
Third
Igor.
Igor. Okay.
The deck will look through cards very well. The Logos is very efficient at doing this.
Definitely is, yeah. With 20 speed, is no joke. So Mimic Gel, going to be at third Igor. We've already seen the Babbling Bibliophile and the question Giata off the last one. What are we going to find with this one? Yeah, exactly. Muffins. 2 Igors, notably not eyewear. And a Stealth Mode and a Garcia Stealth Mode. Really only happy to see that go. Stealth Mode, a really nice card to be able to play against someone. Telltale Vapors, just crushing this deck here with this amount of card draw.
And well, that's what the deck will do. That's what the Logos in it will do very, very well.
Definitely will. I'm going to play a Quant 2, and that's all she wrote. George Hope straight into Saurian, straight into Axie McGrisk.
Boom. Gotta be
is correct.
Gotta be happy with how that went.
Definitely are, yeah.
That board cannot stand. Comes back with the Axiom, and all of that progress kind of wasted.
I mean, you still got all of that filtering with those three Igors, including the Mimic Gel. So
this is true. I guess what we don't know is how much he picked other stuff up versus how much he just had Igors in his hand to begin with.
I mean, I think also you forced George into using that Axie McGrisk and not taking a great turn here. I mean, two cards, not the best turn you'll see. I can't think Kionerst is too disappointed with that. Not thrilled, obviously, but not devastated.
Tributes onto the Thero, and I've got to think he may just run this into the Dark Centurion here.
Quite possibly, yeah. Put some damage on it with a Phalanx Strike first. And then, yeah, do a bit of a biff with that Thero. I think maybe Exalt the Thero just puts some damage on Subtle Otto too. And he does do, yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Then definitely going to run that Thero Centurion in. And
there we go. Goes 4th of December, and after five turns, he's back down to 0.
Yeah.
Thanks, Saurians.
Well, he's got 1.
Oh, just before the Lost in the Woods.
Which is Lost in the Woods really good for George here. He's going to shuffle that mutant back into deck. There's going to be another card draw and another
Well, I wonder if he has the Vault's Blessings here.
Oh, if he does, it'd be very nice. But no, it doesn't have it yet. But I mean, potential to build up a bigger board here and get even more benefit from that Vault's Blessing, though. Of course, no mutants in Kionerst's deck, so potential for some big plays.
And this is the thing, the double Vault's Blessing with the Dav, you can just have a lot of big, sticky mutants.
Indeed, you can.
And usually you pay good money in Amsterdam to see big, sticky mutants.
And we see the Thero Centurion coming back down, going to capture 1 George Imperium going to put a ward on it. And are we going to see anything else coming out here? Thinking about it, is Kionerst considering?
Well, you've got a bit of a problem in that you leave the Fandangle alive, you leave the Dark Fairy alive.
Yeah. Phalanx Strike. Okay, going to put just 1, maybe 2 damage on. Yeah, repeating it. Oof.
But thanks to the Daff, that Dark Fairy will live.
It will indeed, yeah. And George going to go with Untamed here, fighting to get that ward off. Plays a Ghost Hawk just for the capture. Obviously nothing to reap with there. And reach with the Cephalist, reach with the Fandangle, and that's all she wrote. I suppose George is just thinking here, well, if he doesn't maybe want to forge because thinking, well, I can just build up a load more Ember by being on this high amount and he's playing a bunch of creatures next to him that all coming ready.
Well, guys, we may have reached new heights of fame because someone is offering us the chance to become famous and buy followers, primes, and viewers on bigfollows.com. This is perhaps a huge deal. I don't know if we do we have money to buy big followers on bigfollows.com? I don't know.
Ooh, it's a tough one. I'll have a look down the back of the sofa, see if I can find anything. But we are going to see a twin bottom mission dealing 2 damage to Dark Fairy and Ghost Hawk. Edai coming on down. I'll put something in that archive. But yeah, it looks like George is going to be left on 5 Ember here with that Fandangle still alive. So could be seeing a real big turn from him next turn.
Potentially so. Dav strikes me as absurd.
Oh yeah, of course it is.
Like,
yeah.
One or both.
Knowledge is power though from Kionerst. Archiving a card, potential for 3 Ember there, didn't take it.
Well, wants to rack up the key cost, wants to cycle through his deck, and it was about to go back in.
I don't know. I feel like three Ember there would have been real nice. And he's just gonna borrow just for the Ember. Plays the Rad Penny, steals 1,
and can just immediately fight it into the Edai.
He definitely can. I think that's what we'll see. But Doc M Voltorong went in form first. Shadowsmith, going to draw another card here. Suslosso going to discard a card. Light of the Archons.
The Fandangle makes this brutal.
It does. Light of the Archons, though, not the best card you'll see. Hit with that. Not a bad one, but definitely going to hit more useful targets there. George having a little think here. Possibly deciding whether or not just to fight the Theros Centurion here too, or whether you want to go for the Reap. Fights the Shadowsmith into... And then just reaps with both, though.
Very reasonable. Takes himself up to 9.
Does, yeah, interesting. I maybe would have considered fighting with the Rad Penny, just to, get that back in the deck, ready to draw again later.
Perhaps, but it depends on the Heist Knight. I think that might be why.
Very, very true.
Leaves it to stick on the board. Could be holding that. Could be expecting it to come anytime soon with only 11 cards left.
I think that's very, very true.
The tantalizing problems with closed hands. Did he hold it? Does he have it now? Did he draw it? We just don't know.
But also, like, I imagine if you're Kionerst, you're probably wondering that as like, oh, does he have it? Did he hold it? What is going on here? Phyrexian Ludo coming down, but nothing big enough to run that Theros Centurion into. I'm going to see another Phalanx Strike to take out that Shadowsmith.
Very important because that now lets him just run the Theros Centurion into the Fandangle to get rid of it.
It does, yeah, which I think we'll probably be seeing him doing here because that Fandangle has already done some work as that Fandangle.
I mean, George has got to be pretty happy, right? That's like a decent Fandangle. You got 3 activations off it that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Oh, for sure, yeah, for sure.
Given it almost always dies.
And we are going to see George Forster II, the first key of the game, First Blood, going to GJ999.
And we haven't seen either Vault's Blessing yet, so if one comes out here, this could be a very big burst. 4 mutants sticking on the board.
Fighting the Ludo, of course, we have Skirmish because of that Cephalus. There's both the Vault's Blessings going up to 12.
Oof. Huge burst of 8 Ember there. Takes out the Ludo.
And he's got that 4 Ember Pinata of that Theros Centurion there too, and everything is too big for the Theros Centurion to fight at the moment.
Yeah, it's also like Vault's Blessing has a pip on it as well, so got 5 with each of them.
Yeah, that's brutal. But Tautau Vapors here coming down from Kionerst.
And yeah, the Edai going in before the reshuffle, so not coming back any soon.
That is indeed the case, yeah.
And George will forge and be immediately on check again.
Yeah, I think this has got to be looking pretty dicey for Kionerst at this point.
I mean, we could just see a fight of the Theros Centurion.
Oh, there's the Heist Knight too, stealing 2,
brutal.
And a capture, just for good measure.
Yeah. Kionerst is going down hard.
Yeah.
Rad Penny, the lone Rad Penny fighting the mighty Theros Centurion
And
off the
coming
board.
out on top with that skirmish, and Kionerst concedes there.
Yep.
I mean, that came out of nowhere there. It looked like we had a bit of a back and forth going, and then just suddenly George just accelerated from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
Hits with a double Vox Blessing, just 10 Ember out of nowhere.
Indeed.
Took some setting up to do, but yeah. And Varrock Boom looking for a longer game where you can archive and build up a big board or build up a big knowledge's power.
Yeah.
And Diz does not get it. So George taking an early lead.
Indeed, yeah. And we'll switch on only show new games as we await the second game of this matchup.
What do you think? Do you think Kina sticks with Varrock Boom?
I don't know. I mean, as you know, as any regular listeners know, that we're both switchers. And just so we know that Red was banned for Kionerst and Razormare was banned for George. So we will be seeing Tenebris in this game.
So are we going to get some Tenebris shenanigans? Wait, did you hear something? Or was that me?
Sorry, that was just I'm here. Sorry, that was just my flatmate. It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, she has cut her finger open, but has reliably informed me that she's fine. So,
well, that's good. I just thought I was going mad and starting to hear things.
No, it's fine.
It'd be interesting to see if Kionerst switches, because Varrock Boom versus Triple Edire could be very fun.
Just have an archive off. It would be quite fun.
Who can archive more things quicker?
Yeah. Okay, Kionerst asking to go first here. And he is first. That's good.
So we'll see if the Kodo can handle the Edis.
Indeed.
Potentially, I could see it generating too much Ember, having too much removal very quickly.
Yep, we will see. And yep, we do see Gert Song, Soldato di Cubinatido. So we are going to see a switch from Kionerst, and also a switch from George as well, as the rules dictate.
Yeah. Potentially switching into what he thinks might be a stronger matchup. Obviously, with every win counting in a group as tight as Group D currently is, potentially very sensible.
Indeed.
So we do get a mulligan from Kionerst.
Indeed, hang on, just give me 2 seconds. I'll be back very shortly.
Okay, I'm just going to keep vamping. Finally, now that the Baron has gone, I can say all those bad things about him and all of his innermost secrets without him contradicting me. Spoilers to all. He's a really nice guy, like a dear friend. Don't tell him I said that, though. He can't know that I like him. All right, let's start off with Kionerst doing some logos. What is it going to be? Could it be the Time Traveler? And he's misclicked the wrong house. So it will not be the Time Traveler. It will be something else. But what? That is the real question. Shadow Self, pretty good early start. Plenty of things you could potentially whack behind that. Although actually not, because there's not many creatures in Gear Song. And George is going to start off with Dis, which he doesn't really want to be doing that much with this deck. So that's a sign of not a great hand. But is going to get down a Candle Unit, which could be a problem, and a Snaglet, which could also turn into a much more serious problem the longer the game goes by. Kionerst is going to go Dis. What has he got coming? Life Ward, very good early play. And steals the Candle Unit and is going to whack it right behind the Shadow Self. And that is potentially going to be a big long-term problem for George. Tenebris does like to generate Ember by reaping, whilst you stall out with the Edis. So that is a huge early thing to have happened. You can tell that the Baron normally does a lot of the talking. I really hope he comes back soon. Discards the Gateway. So George taking an early punch to the face here with the Life Ward and the stolen candle unit. So may have to take some time to consider what to do. There's some decent removal in Tenebris. The problem is with the Shadow Self, it's going to absorb all of that sort of red alert damage. And the fact that Candle Unit and Shadow Self are mono trait, as they only got one trait, then they're going to be more resistant to the Entropic Swirl. So we see a red alert coming down, but really not doing much damage. Wax down the Kirker, which is usually something people can hide behind. So, questions to chat, just so I have some time to fill.
Sorry,
Who
I
do you
have
think's gonna win?
returned. What's happening?
Oh, thank God. Well, the big thing to have happened so far is that Kionerst used a collar of subordination on George's candle unit and stuck it behind his shadow self.
Oh, well, that's not very nice.
Which is going to be a big problem for George.
Right, I had to do some minor first aid, but I am back now. It's all good. Plasters are on, and yeah, so we do see a subtle maul coming down after that wild wormhole phase shift. What are we going to see shifted in? Now, collar subordination means he can use that candle unit in a Logo's turn too, because obviously.
Well, no, because it's actually a fancy Maverick candle unit.
Oh, so it is. Even more
creature.
confusing. How delightful.
Very confusing. It's having a good Logos
turn to draw a couple of cards here.
It's interesting. He's clearly saving those life wards.
Yeah, I'm also interested that he played the. We haven't seen the library access here, have we? No.
We have not. No.
I would have maybe played the library access. I played the Time Traveler before the phase shift, then just in case you drew that library access and wanted to, library access and kind of use that phase shift as part of it. But clearly deciding not to there.
Just sort of went for the big Logos turn in the meantime.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and that is a disc candle unit. Okay, and that's going to be the turn pass there. So it is going to be George's turn. Wait, how did he play Dominator? Oh, phase shift, right. I'm so confused.
Does not archive off Grey, which is rough.
Mm-hmm.
Does not want to archive anything.
No, but presumably that just means he has better cards. He has cards that he just wants to play instead that may also archive him in other ways.
Yes, potentially, but obviously it feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity.
A little bit, yeah. And so let's catch back up on what's going on here. So the Red Alert and the Evil Eye is gone. Time Traveler and Help Yourself are now gone after that Twin Bottle mission from George. And
it's still the candle units are the big problem, right?
Yeah, Candle Unit, obviously a great card, a really useful one to have around to stop the reaping, and big part just stops George reaping too. But we are now passing back to Kionerst, going to see what he's going to do here. And that Life Ward as well could be troublesome too. Like we talked about it a bit in the deck chat, but being able to disrupt Tenebris' flow, stop, say, creatures being played in terms of those E-dies after destroying them, kind of that could really be troublesome for Tenebris and could make it difficult.
Yeah, I think he's going to be trying to save those for going to check, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we look at Tenebris, does have a Poltergeist, so he is taking a risk here by leaving on the board.
He is, yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But I suppose, I mean, we said about it said in Guess on only 10 creatures in the whole deck, so pretty not as fussed about a Life Ward as
yeah, true.
as George
kind
would
of
be.
Happy to eat that risk. It also makes George take a disc turn, which usually he doesn't want to be doing in Tenebris.
Definitely not, no. But Kionerst having a bit of a think here. Clearly, a lot to kind of like consider here with all three houses on the board. Those artifacts, Dominator, Bauble as well, probably coming into the thinking too, just trying to decide what to do before he chooses a house. But yeah, a bit of a slow start for Tenebris, so you're usually hoping to get kind of more of like the Logos to kind of get that draw, that archive started sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's been 3 whole turns. He's only archived 1 card. That's really not. That's a below average pace for the stack.
Definitely is, yeah. I'm going to go
He's going to go Dis. Oof, big hit with the Gongoozle.
Oof, yeah, you can't be happy about that if you're George. You see the Terror just go for a Reap. And the Candle unit Reap too. Dominator Bauble uses Quicksort Adventurer. Just going to Reap as well. It doesn't even fight. Oh, that's probably why, because the Gateway to Dis. Clearing the board and the Life Ward too.
So now can't play an Edai or exhume an Edai.
Cannot, no, but we are going to see Dis. Discards a Malison. Uses a Poltergeist to discard a Ghostly Hand at random. I think pretty happy about hitting that.
Yeah, but still, Poltergeist just turned too late.
Yeah.
And he'd lost the Edai to the Gongoozle, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, definitely. Not a great turn here for George. Not going to be thrilled with any of those eventualities. Seeing Shadows here coming out Kionerst. Pure Poison Wave, nothing to hit, just for the Ember. Nerve Blast, just for the Steel. Pawn Sacrifice, nothing to sacrifice, nothing to hit.
Straight back up to check at 6.
And yep, here goes.
George now I think has to go looking for an Edai, probably.
Almost certainly, yeah. And yeah,
does not find one.
Doesn't, and Kionerst just going to get that second key.
2 keys to nothing down in a very short space of time.
Yeah, we have.
I've seen Tenebris come back from this before, but it's going to be a long, difficult slog.
It's a long way to Tipperary from here, most definitely.
A long way from home.
But Kionerst having a think there. Obviously, not a big turn from George, really. Only 2 cards played. Well, 3 cards actually. And Kionerst going to play that soft landing. Put down a Mother. Reaps with the Mother. And ends it there. Just looking to get a bit of card draw. Get some cards out of the hand. And I think if you're Kionerst, but yeah, just thinking you can sit back a little bit. Take your time. Just keep getting rid of the threats from George's deck. Keep clearing his board. Keep a handle on it. We are going to see Star Alliance. Plays the red alert. Doesn't get anything. Medicaid going to ward it herself. Zap.
Also, I checked, and the reason why it's a long way to Tipperary is because the song originally was written from the perspective of an Irish worker in London, referencing his Irish hometown. That's why it's that specifically.
But Kionerst going to go with this here. Again, not a great turn for George, though. Just a zap onto the Mother. Dominator Bauble to Reap with the Mother. Lash of Broken Dreams. Life Ward again, and this is where this could be getting really end game.
Just getting ready for that key 3.
Use the Holocramiphone to ward the Mother too. Oof. Using the Poltergeist.
Also then loses a big part of the Tenebris plan of just locking down the key cost with Edais.
Yeah, I mean this looks like it's all going wrong for George here. You know, hasn't had that archive. Has seen his Edais go early and be discarded from hand. He's got to be wondering how he can come back from this.
It's looking pretty rough.
And we have Kidman XDX, I think George's opponent from the previous round in the chat here.
Another victim of Tenebris.
Indeed, yeah.
Perhaps turning up to see its demise.
Yeah, we were talking about Schadenfreude in the chat beforehand. I think definitely there may be some here for Kidman. As GJ999 here, thinking about his turn. Now, how many? We do still have one more Edai left, if I'm
there was one more Edai left.
So down but not out, I'd say for sure. I think the thing is though, do you save that for next turn when Kionerst is more likely to be on check and it goes for the Tau Vapors?
The thing is, I think with the Life Ward on the board, you need to get it down if possible.
That's very
if you've
true.
Got it.
Yeah, and
because you know that he's just going to get an Ember and then doesn't have it.
No, and the thing is, we've seen both Gateway to Distance as well. So if you do get that Edai down, it's less likely to be something to then get it off the board. But the problem is, I think what you're going to see here, if he's got any Ember in Dis, if you've got any Ember in any house, actually, you're going to see that Ember played and just the Life Ward to stop that Ember control being played. Urchin going to be very happy with that. Steals one. Nerve Blast to steal another. Taking that ward off the Ingram. Relentless Whispers to kill the daughter. Can he get him off check here? Ghostly Hand to get himself up to 11. Life Ward. I think that might be curtains. I think that might be it,
yeah. Tenebris doesn't have huge amounts of Ember control. It mostly does it through Edais.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you can't play creatures,
then
you're a bit screwed.
And that is game right there.
Goes 3-1 to Kionerst, and we have a decider on the board.
Yeah, it just seemed like Tenebris there kind of had its shoelaces tied out as it was trying to kind of spring out the blocks and didn't really get a chance.
Oh, it's fine. Kidman, far from engaging in Schadenfreude, is actively rooting for George because he thinks that helps him in the overall attempt to get out of this group.
Fair enough. I've definitely cheered on football teams for worse reasons than that, to be honest. So, George,
All's
though,
fair in love and Keyforge.
going to be going first into this third and final game, the decider of this matchup. We will await the game being made.
I will start a pool. How many cards do we think are going to be archived in this game?
I'm going to go for a hot 30.
Hot 30.
Yeah. Across 2 decks, 30 cards. I'm going to say at
Is
one point.
Is that the total archive size at any one time?
No, yeah, total. It has to be in total. I mean, neither person's going to pick up their archive, so it's academic, right?
So, like, but I mean, yeah, possibly true. So there's 30 from you. We have 35 from Muffins in the chat. Any higher bids?
Well,
on
you haven't bid
35?
yet, man. You need to put your.
I will lowball. I will cap it at 25.
Coward. Yeah, Kidman's got the right idea. He's going for 40.
I'm conservative with my guesses.
Oh, I'm going to see Starlines. Information Officer Grey, get the ball rolling with the first
One.
archive. Malison.
One archived card. Malison going away to never return.
I apologise to any Transylvanian viewers we have.
Kidman, I got Edi shenanigans. He knows what it's like. Yeah, I know what it's like too. It's
we've all been hurt by. Point to where the Edi hurt you.
Point to the archives where it hurt you.
And I gonna look at the top 3 cards. What is gonna be discarded here? Theros Centurion in a Twin Bolt mission. And the Telltale Vapors gonna archive. The archive count is up to 2 after this Telltale Vapors. And Kidman saying he'd never seen the like of Tenebris's fearful play before. And I think that's fair enough. I think it's a very uncommon style of play. So I would blame yourself.
When someone does it, it's like, why did I not see this coming? It seems so obvious. We have the first Edi.
Mm-hmm.
2 turns, 4 cards in the archive.
Yep. And I feel like that's only going to get more and more.
We will talk about other things happening in the game at various points.
Yeah. And we're going to see Saurians from Kionerst here. What is coming out of them thy dinosaurs? Yeah, Kidman here saying that he's seen a lot of new things since he's joined the league, and I think that's one of the great things about I've especially seen commentating is just seeing completely different kind of decks that I've seen before, new styles of play, really unexpected styles of play too. You know, it's really kind of broadened my kind of understanding of Keyforge. I think that's definitely something that's a really good thing that comes out for the league.
And it's not over yet. We've got another round yet, and presumably the top cut if we are allowed to commentate on such things. I hope we will.
I'm sure we will. Yeah, well, hopefully you'll be in it, mate. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is true. I'd forgotten that was still a thing that might happen.
Phalanx Strike. Just going to do 1 damage to that Information Officer Grey.
Very sad unique. Phalanx Strike. Plays the second one.
Oh.
Oof. This is...
Rip. On a State interest for 1, a tribute.
Oh, a tribute.
Oh, a tribute just for the Ember. Oh, this is so sad.
That is a rough hand from Kionerst. That is not what he wants to be seeing.
The Saurian heart that beats within me. It's just sad.
Just didn't want to hold those like 4 cards.
The Grooving Tank's just gonna fight the Wormhole Technician. It's just gonna get run over. And while Wormhole's a medic, Ingram going to ward the Information Officer Grey, not the Edi.
Has the hologramophone to play an Edi and then ward an Edi?
We just saw a turn with no 2 turns, in fact, with no archiving. I've been missold this game. Archiving every turn.
George did choose to ward the creature that continuously archive cards.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We are going to see. Good point. Yeah, you kind of wouldn't mind the Edi dying, so we can kind of cycle it back in once he flips his deck. That's very true.
Get more archiving.
Kionerst, if you want to do some co-commentary, I'll let you know if I get tired of Callum, and you'll be the first one I call.
He's gonna be real bored real soon.
And we see Star Alliance though, CXO Tabor coming on down, and Countersuit on the CXO Tabor as well. Melina's Blaster, Stealth Mode 2 to get the ward on. Star Alliance though, straight back from George. Information Officer Gray, going to have that Explorer Rover put on top of him. Chief Engineer Walls, to the window, to the walls.
And with 2 of the Phalanx strikes in Bob-Omb already gone, that is a good chunk of the removal.
It definitely is, yeah. So you can see this board of George's just getting bigger and bigger. Fights the Medic Ingram into the Tabor and then uses the Grey to end it. Archives the Orb of Invidious there. So 4 cards archive, but we had a pickup of the archive from Kionerst.
We did. I wonder what was in there. Something from the Star Alliance. Stealth mode, perhaps.
Perhaps indeed. Saurian, though, is going to be the call. Obviously, I've already seen that tribute coming on out, so we're not going to be seeing that again. And just not much Ember Control in general left now.
Yeah, Phalanx Strike number 3. Really not doing a huge amount.
The 3rd Phalanx Strike just to do 1 damage when played as well.
Yeah, just getting all of the Saurians really early.
But just the Saurian actions, but not the creatures, I think is the big problem.
Just having a rough time.
Indeed he is, yeah. But Logos is going to be the house here. Tau Vapors, archive up to 5. Here we go. And I'm going to ward the Edai. Plays a daughter. May do a double fight into the Quest of the Giata here, I'm thinking, just to get that Ember back. But no, I'm just going to go for a Reap instead.
Triple with the ward and the elusive is the thing.
Very true. Oh, the elusive, yes, I completely forgot about that. Well spotted. That would
save it to be entropically swirled later.
Almost certainly. And we have 6 cards in the archive for George. Tactical Officer Moon.
Key cost of 18 for Kionerst.
A rare, quite useful Tactical Officer Moon actually here, just to be able to reshuffle that battle line of George, just get all the logos together. I mean, you can't use that groupthink tank without destroying quite a bit of your board.
Tactical Officer Moon, like when it hits, it's very useful.
Yeah, it's one of those cards, like the effect is kind of just like meh, apart from when it's incredible.
Yeah, and I feel like the problem is it just does compare very poorly to lots of Worlds Collide Star Alliance creatures.
Yeah. So I think it's essentially Garcia there with the cloaking dongle being put kind of on the side. I'm surprised I didn't put it on the side next to the Tactical Officer Moon. Still have left another side of the Garcia open to elusive and further thing, and would have also given that Moon elusive.
I guess something in the future. Yeah, I don't know. I guess keeps them separate for the groupthink tank.
Is going to fight the Sense Chief Garcia, and the groupthink tank is then going to finish it off. Entropic Swirl to take the ward off of the Jata. We're going to see a second Entropic Swirl here to take it out, potentially, or we're just going to see some Reaping maybe.
Could get a double fight from the Edis.
Could do, yeah, maybe use one Edai to take the elusive off, and then the warded one to kill it, and then reward it with the gramophone. I can see the 3rd Edai key cost of 24, about to 27 though, because of that archive up to 7.
It's pushing the Edis quite early on. I think just thinks he can get to the point where he can reap a whole bunch and make it to keys.
Definitely. I mean, I think having seen those Phalanx strikes come out, right, is the thing. And
yeah,
have we seen the Axiom of Grisk as well?
We have not yet seen the Axiom.
Okay.
So that's got to be the big concern. But obviously then
you've got 2 of them warded too, though.
This is the thing.
I think just having seen so much Saurian already is just kind of like, well, if he wants to play an Axiom of Grisk, you're going to have to take a pretty crappy Saurian turn to do it. So feel free to go ahead.
And I'm getting to the point where I'm getting close to the reshuffle. I've already taken out a 6th of my deck. I can probably take out some more.
Yeah, here we are.
Kionerst going for their own effort with a double Tautau and an Igor.
Yeah, we seem to start to catch up with the archiving here. We always love to see it. And are we going to crack 10 cards archive this turn? I very much hope so. I haven't seen the Edai from Kionerst yet, so maybe he's about to play that. Just push up George's key cost. And we do see the Edai, so George's keys are going to cost him 9 to forge.
which is very nicely timed from Kionerst, but it doesn't really
Definitely.
do anything to stop this logo sport.
No, not
And
at
that
all.
that group think tank is looking more tempting.
Yeah, I think we are probably going to see that here, and it's whether you ward the daughter or the Edai. I'd be inclined to ward the daughter, to be honest. If you are going to use that group think tank, just because Edai's, having an extra key cost isn't making much of a difference here, and you're not too far from reshuffling the deck either. So I think you possibly see that, but we shall see.
Still perhaps holding an exhume for emergencies.
I think almost certainly, yeah. So George having forged his first key, first blood to George in this matchup, and him a bit of a consider of the landscape, surveying his kingdom before he chooses how to strike. And confirming that, I think he's in fact having a bit of a think. And I think we're so conditioned for George's deck to be playing logos every turn that we almost expected at this point. But you could be
He does
missing
have all of. Could just be crafting his hand.
Yeah, also could see some Star Alliance definitely getting something like that Kurikar to protect an Edai down could be really good.
Frayne and Frayne's Blaster,
Definitely
Light of the
so.
Archons, perhaps in either of those.
Yeah,
And he's going to go Star Alliance.
indeed. Also going to archive with the grey too. Just gonna
Yeah.
keep slimming down that hand, putting away the things he doesn't need, place the red alerts to get rid of it. There's the Kurikar, yeah, protecting that Edai. Fighting the Quant. Interesting you thought of the Quant and not Kionerst's Edai there. I suppose does want to shuffle it back into the deck, I would think, would be the reason.
It's also pretty far off forging.
Yeah, I think a combination and then plays that Light of the Archons onto First Officer Frayne as well. Sadly, no Blaster though.
Yeah, I think the Light of the Archons is because he didn't have the Blaster, so he just wants to
Mm.
beef that up to make it stick for another turn, for another Reap, and then stick the Blaster on it.
Yeah, and we are up to 11 cards archived. I think everyone keeping count at home.
Key cost of 30.
It's a casual 30, 5 keys worth. Enough where if you spend all that Emperor at once, someone would win the game of Keyforge.
It's just silly. Like, they made this a common, and I don't know how they didn't see this coming.
But Kionerst is choosing logos as his house here, so maybe using that babbling bibliophile to reap and draw some cards first off the bat, I'd imagine. And then what will we see afterwards? I eagerly await. I think Knowledge's power could be quite big here. I haven't seen it yet, I don't think. Could definitely be getting fair few. Oh no, we have seen Knowledge's power. I do apologise.
Perhaps just is going to keep looking for that Axiom.
Yeah, and we haven't seen the Axiom yet. No.
No, and also wants to start getting the reshuffling going so he can try and find like the phalanx strikes.
And we are going to see. I think this looks like a fight for Edai here. Yep, fights Information Officer Grey just to get that ward token off. Fights Igor into Edai.
Wanted to put Igor and the Edai back into the deck before the Reap and the reshuffle with the Bibliophile.
Yes, very, very astute. And yet Reaps with a Bibliophile to get that reshuffle.
So now does have the Axiom.
Definitely, yes, without a doubt. And maybe that's why going for those wards too, in thinking just, well, I want to kind of take out as much as possible with this.
It's also, you can already see that George's draw is 2 and his discard is 8.
Yeah.
Partly because he kept stuff on the board. Oh, he redrew the Edai straight off the top of the
Very
deck.
nice. And he's going to archive.
Very nice.
Plays a Mimic Gel too. Will this become another Edai? I think it most likely will.
I think it will.
It does indeed, yes. We are going to get another archive. We're up to 13.
13 cards. Only one pulled so far.
Indubitably. Right, what is George going to do here?
Depends if he has the Frayne's Blaster. If he has the Frayne's Blaster, I could easily see a Star Alliance turn happening here again.
I think I'd agree with that.
Fight both Edais, pick up some Ember with the Frayne.
I think, definitely. We only see Logos though, so got to assume he doesn't have that, or just thinks Logos is a better turn.
I think what Kionerst is trying to do here is, with all the Edis out on the board, is trying to find a way to take all of them out at once with an Axiom.
Yeah, we obviously that Entropic Swirl hitting that Quest of the Jata.
Because you can't be having this like bit by bit where they play an Edi every turn, or you'll never manage it at this point.
And I
So
think
you
as well,
need it.
I think that Jata taking out was probably for dual purpose, because if we do know that, excuse me, we do know that the Axiom is almost certainly in Kioner's hand at this point. It's thinking, right, well, fights the Edis into the Tax Officer Moon, just wanting to get a chance to redraw them, I assume.
Perhaps I think he's going to bat a group think tank.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the. Oh yeah, very, very, very true. And yeah, does go for that big group thing tank. I think just like thinking, well, if you're gonna use the Axiom either way, I'm gonna make it super easy for you by just killing all my stuff myself and getting a bunch of benefit.
About to redraw some Edis, and also potentially exhuming one of them, because I don't think we've seen that yet either.
No, I don't believe we have. No. But yeah, still, even with one Edi, keys costing 14 for Kionerst here. And I think this is the difficulty of playing against a deck like Tenebris. Unless you've got something like a Desania or something that can really kind of like interact with your opponent's archives, there's not a lot you can do here to kind of help with this. You know, you're just seeing that archive getting bigger and bigger, and your options getting fewer and fewer. And when a deck like Tenebris just sinks its claws in, there's not what you can do.
And that's kind of why George banned the Triple Infernus deck.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, those Edis just go away forever.
They do indeed. But Kionerst having a bit of a think here, perusing his options.
Okay, so Saurian. So can he get a decent enough phalanx strike here to take out an Edi?
I'm going to see a Thera Centurion first and foremost. But I imagine this might be being played before a Axiom, just to give something to ward.
Potentially.
I would assume that's the case. We shall see. Could cut the tension with a spoon.
It's just like, obviously George is still in check even after this Thera. It's just like Kionerst has had so much trouble trying to deal with the irritating Logos and Starlight's board that Tenebris has put out, that he just hasn't had a chance to generate much Ember.
No, not at all, not at all. And it's like we've been saying as well. Just this archive is only getting bigger, and it's only just getting rid of like the cards that we just don't need. And we obviously a Phalanx Strike here takes the ward off the Edi.
Taking the ward off is important.
There's the Axiom. Okay.
So has a brief Edi free window.
It feels like the first time this game, Kionerst's keys cost a normal amount.
First time in a while. Yeah. I assume that he'll be very sad when one is immediately exhumed.
Yep, I've got to think that is the case here. You know, George generally saves an exhume, holds one for these exact circumstances.
Even then,
he's going to force his second key though. Still,
yeah. So. We've concentrated on like George thwarting Kionerst, but like that's kind of what the deck does. It does generate Ember in the meantime. And there's the exhume.
And there's the exhume into the Edi with the candle unit too. And archives a poltergeist.
Ooh,
archives a card and plays a poltergeist to use the hologramophone and ward.
Gets the ward on the Edi, which I think is big. Buys him time.
I mean, can still kill that Edi with a combination of the Ludo and the Thera Centurion. Probably not wanting to take another Saurian turn. I'd have got to think.
It wouldn't be great.
I believe that probably was his first diss turn. Yeah, I think so. Unless I missed some early on. I imagine it probably also be his last diss turn.
I mean, ideally, right? He may exhume something again at some point.
Here we go. We are seeing Igor. Look at the top three. Discards a Melina's Blaster and an Imperium. Second Igor.
I think is starting to look for answers again.
Ooh, discards a Tribute in a Thero.
That's big.
But you got to think he's got something good here then. I think maybe an Edi, maybe a Tower of Vapor is going to archive another card. Knowledge's power here could be big. You know, get a big chunk of Ember. But with this playing against Tenebris, it almost feels like the amount of member you have doesn't matter because you can
Yeah,
have
it's your ability to remove E-dies that is what's going to win or lose you the game.
yeah, you can have 10, 20, 30 Ember, and I'd still bet on this deck to stop you forging some way or somehow. We are up to 16 cards archived between the two players.
16 cards. I think also just perhaps throwing creatures on the board so we can get a good enough phalanx strike to take out an E-die.
And there's Knowledge's Power for 7. Oh no, Archives a card with Knowledge's Power.
Is just looking for answers. Like, if you burst for 7 there, George either just archive something else somehow, or will happily play another E-die.
There's the Red Alert, going to take out a couple of Igors, put some damage on that Wormhole Technician. And we're straight to Star Alliance there, no messing about, no muss, no fuss.
Got to assume he has a reasonable hand of it.
Gotta think so. And
just, yeah. So his ability to phalanx strike is greatly limited. And there's the Phrase Blaster, goes up to 7. Don't know what Kionerst has got.
Gotta think. This is a problem with that tribute going. I don't know how much big the E-die still in discard. The tribute's
City
gone.
State might save him. But...
City State, I mean, you know, you can if you've got a second creature, but we've already seen one Jata go and the other Thera Centurion. We've seen the not even a City State can save him here. He's only got 4 creatures. And you could fight once with Ludo, use a City State, but that's... Oh, no, fight... Yeah, if you fight and City State, then you'll have just enough to stop the Forge. But I think that'd be the only way. And even then, I think that's very much a stay of execution kind of situation.
Yep.
And there's the City State, yeah, but... I gotta think, yeah, we can see logos here.
Some entropic swirls might put into this.
Quite possibly. Tauto Vapors, though, first. And we've got this game from Kidman. I'm inclined to agree. I can't see a way of Kionerst getting back from this as an entropic swirl slams into Thero. Twin Bolt Emission to nearly finish him off. Then the E-die just to fight into it. Then plays another E-die, insult to injury. 20 cards archived.
A shorter game than I think we're expecting. Hence, we all highball the archiving. We've only made it to 20.
Yeah. Those rookie numbers. Got to pump them up, kid.
Got to pump up those numbers.
And Kionerst, though, going for the Tau Vapor. Suppose looking if he can redraw the E-die. He stays. He gets one more turn.
Execution. Tau number 2.
Got to 22.
And I go. He's looking. He's looking hard for that E-die.
He's looking. I kind of hope he finds it just because...
I do kind of hope he finds it. Not least because we're dangerously close to my accurate prediction of the archives.
Discuss the CSI in a babbling bibliophile. Plays a Quant. And Twin Bolt Emission. Knowledge's Power.
Just gets the 10 Ember. Immediately loses.
Oh, beautiful. And still only 3 after getting 10 Ember off of Knowledge's Power. He's still only 3 above key
finally declares check.
Very much so, but good game by both players. I think just Tenebris, the superior archiver of things.
Only declared check twice in the entire 12 turns.
Brutal. But yeah, I think as George saying in the chat there, 3 great games to watch there. Really competitive back and forth.
Yeah, it was really interesting, all of them.
But
Tenebris claims another victim with a 3-0 avenging of its previous reputational stains, having gone down 3-0 before, just not fired.
But yeah, well, thank you very much everyone for watching. Well, I've been 3 excellent games. I have been David Baron von Fabulous Lark.
And I've been Callum, the good Dr. Young.
We've been Screechbomb Commentaries. Check us out on YouTube. We've got a lot more videos of various KFPL games, including games of George's. If you want to see more of Tenebris doing Tenebris things.
And games of Kionerst as well.
Indeed, we do. Yep, games of Kionerst as well. I think like almost all of the central players I've managed to do at least one video of at this point. So
yeah, either on our channel or on the official KFPL channel, or Shout out to long-term friend of the stream, Muffins.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So
glad.
he
You've now done pretty much almost everyone. You've stopped sleeping or doing other things. It's just this now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just kind of like when we started this, we did it because you know, you had a commentary that you weren't overly thrilled with, kind of like the way the commentary went, and as a result, I've always been wanting to do at least one commentary of someone of everyone, just so because people seem to like our commentary, you're here listening to us, that everyone will have at least one commentary they'll like, and that's what we're trying to do. So yeah,
it's going pretty well.
it's going
Thanks for
pretty
tuning
well.
in. And we'll see you all soon.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. I hope to see you again in next week, which will be the final week of the KFPL group stages before we head into the wild world of the playoffs. Bye bye.
Bye.